If you're a motion designer using After Effects and you're struggling to move to a more advanced level, then you need to hear these 5 things that I'm just about to share with you. I used to ignore these couple of techniques throughout my 5-year-old career, but honestly, they completely transformed the way I work and the overall quality. So let's dive right into the first point. Do you ever work on a project, you spend multiple hours on it, and suddenly you realize that you need to change a color which is applied throughout like 20 different compositions? Which means that you need to go into each and every comp and change it manually. But there is a very easy workaround to avoid this time-wasting nightmare. And that is using one global panel to control everything. So in your main composition, you add a new null object. Then you search for an expression that's called color control. Then to every layer that needs to follow this color, you apply a fill effect and you use a pick whip to parent the color onto the just created color control. You can also use this for other color effects like tritone or tint. And if you cannot use a pick whip tool because the color you want to apply is in a different composition, you need to use a simple expression which goes like this. The only thing that you need to make sure is that the expression values are named correctly. Of course, you can apply this to as many colors as you want. In fact, there are all of these expression controls that are available to you. You can use slider controls to control effects like the amount of blur. You can create a global control for a position. You can turn effects on and off with a checkbox. There is a drop-down feature. I won't go into all of them in this video, but I promise you this will save you so much time with just a couple of clicks. And congratulations, you've just learned how the animation templates are made. So if you got something cool, you can try to package it and sell it as a digital product. Talking about expressions, I know that a lot of you are scared of them. Well, I definitely was. But in reality, you need just a couple of them. The ones I personally use the most are wiggle, loop out, time, posterize time, and random. Those are just 5 expressions that I use on a consistent basis. And honestly, even if you don't know these, then AI here is a big cheat code. For example, I ask for an expression to make a shape float up and down, and it gives me a customizable expression like this. And let's say that I would like the same thing for the rotation as well. And this would take me forever to write it up myself. Just a side tip, you can also ask AI to break the expression down for you just so you understand the theory behind what number and value does what. That's what really helped me to understand more complex expressions. Or in my previous tutorial, I used an expression to offset each duplicated shape by a couple of degrees and pixels. You can imagine how much time this would take me to do manually, so that's why expressions are so powerful. And with the AI now, you have absolutely no excuses not to use them. Sorry. Motion design is so much about creativity, but can we all agree that we all have favorite effects and styles that we use for like 80% of the projects? For example, one of my favorite text animations is this simple line reveal, and I used to recreate this animation over and over again for each project just to realize that I don't have to, and I can just save it as a preset and it automatically applies all the setup. So once you are done with your animation setup, you just go to animation and click save animation preset. Give it any name that you want, and next time you wanted that specific style, you just apply it as any other effect as you're used to. And of course, it's fully customizable. The same goes for the regular effects. You just select the ones that you want included and you just save them the exact same way. So go and save your favorite effects if you haven't done so yet. It's gonna save you so much time. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and you would like to keep learning stuff like this, then you can subscribe to my free newsletter, where I also share the business side of things and how you can monetize your own creative skills. You can find the link for the sign up down below in the description. Transitions are a big deal in motion design, and hard cuts don't always do the job. Sometimes it just feels too abrupt and as if the animation lost its energy. But there is one transition trick that works on pretty much anything, and once you know it, you will use it all the time. Let's say that we've got a shape in one scene and then a text in another one. And instead of just a hard cut, we can animate, for example, the position of both layers. Then we can make the curve smooth and peaky in a graph editor. And where we've got the peak, which means the highest speed, that's where we cut both layers. So we got something that looks like this and feels immediately more connected. Now, if you'd like to take this even further, you can apply this same technique to multiple layers and slightly offset them. So each layer animates at a slightly different speed or duration, but the same peak effect is still there, and this just adds more variation and dynamic flow. And one more thing to watch out for, make sure that both elements are in the exact same spot. So don't put one, for example, here or this one here. And that's because we want to naturally lead the viewer's eyes and not force them to look somewhere else. When it comes to animating shape layers, you are probably familiar with trim paths or offsetting the paths, but have you ever explored the other options? Like, have you ever clicked on zigzag to see what it does? You can see what kind of shape I created from just one single square. And just to name a few, the wiggle paths give your shapes a more organic, kind of hand-drawn feel. The pucker and bloat lets you push and pull your shapes inside and out. The twist, that's kind of self-explanatory, it adds rotation or sort of like spiral effect. And the repeater that instantly duplicates and arranges your shapes so you can create custom patterns. I personally use repeater a lot to create some backgrounds. And these operators definitely have more specific use case, but they are perfect for animating abstract shapes, maybe dynamic backgrounds, or creating like animated patterns for brands. And all this that you see on screen is just made out of a simple square, so imagine what you can do with more complex shapes. So those were my 5 pro tips for motion design. You know, people sometimes tend to forget that motion design is not just about coming up with the most beautiful effect, but it's also about being efficient, working smarter, and building your own toolkit. If you found these tips helpful, I would really appreciate if you like this video and you subscribe for more motion design stuff. And you can write down in the comments if you have any other tips, so we can all learn from each other. And if you would like to know 5 things that I wish I knew before I even started learning motion design, then go and watch this video right here.